Mighty lesson. In a sun-drenched meadow filled with wildflowers, Milo the beetle spent his afternoons resting on cool green leaves. His best friend was Twitch the hare, who loved to tell stories about the fastest paths through the clover. They were an unlikely pair, one very small and one quite bouncy, but they looked out for each other every single day. High above the meadow, the shadows of the clouds were not the only things moving. Altair the eagle soared on the mountain winds. He was grand and powerful, with wings that could span a whole stream. He looked down at the world with sharp eyes, searching for his next meal, feeling like the king of all he surveyed. Suddenly, Altair swooped down like a golden bolt of lightning. Twitch froze in fear, but Milo stood his ground. The tiny beetle buzzed his wings loudly and scurried in front of his friend. "Please, great Altair," Milo cried out. "Twitch is my friend. Spare him, and I will be forever in your debt." Altair didn't even look at the tiny beetle. To him, Milo was no more important than a speck of dust. With a dismissive flap of his wings that nearly blew Milo away, the eagle snatched Twitch up in his talons and carried him high toward the rocky peaks. Milo watched his friend disappear, his heart heavy with sadness and a new, burning spark of justice. Milo knew he couldn't fight an eagle with strength, but he was very persistent. He spent days climbing the highest, steepest mountain. When Altair flew away to hunt, Milo reached the eagle's nest. Inside lay 3 smooth, white eggs. "You ignored the life of my friend," Milo whispered. He used his strong legs to nudge the eggs until they rolled right over the edge. When Altair returned and found his nest empty, he wailed in grief. He built a new nest even higher, but Milo found it again. No matter where Altair hid his eggs, the tiny beetle followed. Altair grew desperate. He flew to the very top of the world, where Aurelius, the great king of the sky, sat upon a throne of clouds. "Please, great Aurelius," Altair begged the king. "A tiny beetle is destroying my family. I have nowhere left to go." Aurelius, who wore a robe made of starlight and held a scepter of lightning, looked down at the magnificent bird. He agreed to help and told Altair to place his new egg safely in the king's own lap. Aurelius sat very still, cradling the eggs in the folds of his golden robes. He was sure no beetle would dare bother the king of the sky. But Milo was not afraid. He gathered a small ball of dirt and flew higher than any beetle had ever flown, right up to the celestial palace where the king sat. Milo didn't attack the eggs. Instead, he buzzed directly toward the king's face and dropped his ball of dirt right on Aurelius's nose. Startled by the tiny intruder, Aurelius jumped and brushed at his face. As he moved, the egg slid from his lap and tumbled down through the clouds toward the earth below. Aurelius was angry until Milo landed on his finger and told his story. He spoke of Twitch and how Altair had been cruel and arrogant. Aurelius listened and realized that even a king must respect the small. He told Altair that the beetle's actions were just. From that day on, eagles and beetles lived in a careful peace, for everyone knew that even the smallest creature can bring down the mightiest bird.